it's really exciting to see the kids get up there and perform the way they do. And as I've gotten more involved back with the university, you're really realizing that some of the kids who come out of the business school are really, really accomplished. And having spent most of my career in New York on Wall Street, I know what to expect for kids and what I want to expect for kids showing up as 23-year-olds. And the kids now coming out of JMU, it seems every year they're better and better and better prepared and can compete honestly with any school in the country.
Welcome to Being the Change, the official podcast of James Madison University, brought to you by Madison Magazine. Each episode brings you stories of how members of the JMU community combine intellect with action to live lives of purpose and meaning. That's being the change.
What's up, JMU? Andy Perrine here. Welcome to Being the Change. In this episode, we've got three distinguished alumni with us, and we're going to be talking about the business plan competition in the College of Business. You may know, listeners, that the business plan competition is named the Rainey-Shepard-Kushel Business Plan Competition, and as luck would have it, we have Don Rainey, class of 82, Rusty Shepard, class of 86, and Rick Kushel, class of 87 with us. Welcome to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you being here. They're all on campus because the business plan competition is happening today. And if you know the history, the business plan competition started in 2003. There's been about 700 kids who have gone through it. It's a transformative experience. Don Rainey was one of the first to get involved, and he was a judge. What was the first year you judged, Don?
It would be 2003.
2003, and he had the instinct, the feeling that the kids needed a little bit more skin in the game, and decided to begin to endow the program. Later, Rusty got involved, and then Rick just got involved most recently. And one of the reasons why we wanted to chat today is because this is an example of an unbelievably hands-on experience for our College of Business students. And we hear from employers all the time that our students graduate with the ability to show up, be out-of-the-box productive, work great on teams, have no expectations of immediate leadership. And they're different. The JMU student is different from their peers from other schools. So we wanted to talk to you three about why you got involved and about why the program is so impactful for the students' experience. So first of all, Don, what made you want to get involved early on after being a judge?
As a career and a venture capitalist, I'm accustomed to seeing business plans and ideas presented. I became aware of what JMU was doing with CLB 300, which is the CLB 300 class is required of all business majors, usually taken in their junior year.
And it's a 12-credit full semester course.
Yeah. Course, which is 12 credit hours.
Right.
And in the course, they have to write a business plan. And at the end, they present to the professors and they get a grade. We think, my reaction was it's an incredible academic exercise. It's a great learning experience. It's not, yes, there's something about working in teams, but it's also about refining, defining, and researching an idea and being able to describe it. So the thought was we really wanted to back up the academic experience. And by that, I mean, we didn't and have never expected any of these to be real businesses. Mm-hmm. This is about a learning experience.
Right.
For the student, 120 plans get written a year. 15 get thorough, the best 15, we give a thorough review, and then 5 teams come and present. The scholarships, the first place team is $10,000. Total scholarships awarded this afternoon will be $53,000.
And that really focuses their minds. I mean, it's a real pitch.
Well, it's life. I mean, yeah. I think, we're going to, before they present, we talk to them a little bit about what this experience is and how it will prepare them. And maybe you're a little nervous, and in real life in 10 years, maybe this experience will help you be better in that moment when the pressure's on. But, for them, this is a great showcase. And that's really what we want to showcase them. And in that regard, very early on, we asked the dean, once we picked our 5 teams, to send a letter to the parents and the grandparents. And what is most moving, if you've ever had a chance to attend this, is the parents and the grandparents' reactions.
Yeah, they're seeing their kid up there actually performing. I've been to the business plan competition a number of times, and there's open weeping.
Yes.
As seeing their kids. Well, Rusty, what moved you to get involved after Don Rainey took the lead?
So my calendar freed up a little bit after 2014 when I retired after a long Wall Street career. And I had created an angel fund and a industrial real estate fund. And so I certainly had time, and having an angel fund kind of fell right into place with arguably what they're presenting on a regular basis here. Don reached out to me to ask if I wanted to judge. So I became a judge, and instantly I thought this is really pretty cool. And so he asked me to get more involved, which basically meant turning my jingling change into, into change that can fold. Right. so we contributed and got more and more involved. And it's really exciting to see the kids get up there and perform the way they do. And as I've gotten more involved back with the university, you're really realizing that some of the kids come out of the business school are really, really accomplished. And having spent most of my career in New York on Wall Street, I know what to expect for kids and what I want to expect for kids showing up as 23-year-olds. And the kids now coming out of JMU, it seems every year they're better and better and better prepared and can compete honestly with any school in the country. So I'm very happy to be involved.
Well, and you've been involved in higher ed in New York as well. Weren't you on the board of one of the New York systems?
I still am. I'm on the board of Stony Brook University and on the investment committee for the endowment. And I'm on the board of Marymount School in New York for the last 15 years as well.
So you know the purpose of why we're here.
Correct.
Yeah. And Rick, you just recently got involved.
Yeah, I'm a newbie.
You're a newbie. You're the youngster of the group. And you have a very interesting story about how you got back involved with the university. It wasn't necessarily directly with the business plan competition.
No, it wasn't. I was a chemistry major back in the day. Wasn't really sure what I was going to do with it. Graduated, went to work for a cosmetics company, and while I was in the lab testing shampoo on rabbits, I figured, like, what am I doing here? This isn't me. I've made an awful mistake. What am I going to do now? And got the entrepreneur bug. And
what's a clean rabbit smell like?
Vanilla. And while I passed on the chemistry route and started my own business. Wound up, selling it and recapitalizing it with a private equity firm, Carlyle Group, out of DC, and ran that business and ultimately sold it. Had a good exit and made my way to work for another private equity firm in New York, Blackstone, and wound up spinning out a technology company there. Ran that business for several years, and then lo and behold, I got a letter from JMU from the chemistry department saying, "Hey, would you come back and speak to the students at homecoming?"
Ostensibly about shampooing rabbits.
Well, I responded, "You got the wrong Rick. I don't know who you're looking for, but I'm not the guy." And actually, thematically, they were looking for somebody to come back and talk to the students about, just because you have a major in a science, you won't necessarily wind up in a lab and wearing a white coat, and it would be nice if you could share that experience. So I got sucked
to their
in.
credit, that's a righteous thing to say.
It was right, and I guess that was about 10 years ago, and I got sucked in and came back and hadn't been back for a while. I was definitely checked out and saw just the amazing change here, and got rehooked. Started to spend some more time in campus, and then I was trying to think about join the JMI board with Mary Lou. Yeah, and
Mary Lou Bourne is who he's referencing, and,
yep.
and JMI is the university's innovation company.
Yeah. And I started to think about how can I do something that I'm passionate about,
right.
And Don and I got to know each other just through industry.
Mm-hmm.
And first and foremost, I want to thank Don and Rusty for creating this legacy for the students and for the parents and for the faculty, and letting me be a part of it. So I truly appreciate
Great
that.
to have you.
And got hooked, and I'm really excited for today. It's my first one, so I'll probably do more watching, but really looking forward to it.
Well, since it's your first time, Rick, Don, why don't you tell Rick and our listeners just what kind of dramatic scene he's in for because these kids said yes a couple months ago to being part of this, and they might have not known what they'd signed up for, and it gets pretty intense up there.
Yeah, I'd set the scene by saying they're all very nervous right now, today. And they know their stuff, and they'll do fine. But they're stepping into the spotlight.
Right.
And we take, it's standing room only in the big hall in Hartman Hall.
300 people.
300, 400 people. Parents, friends, faculty, grandparents.
Peers.
And so they're feeling the heat. And that's a very... I don't desire that for them. It's a very important part of this, because it's you learn in life you have to meet certain moments. For them, we're gonna always do what we can to calm those nerves, and we do remind them that they were invited to do this, and in a moment in time that they decided to do it. They thought to themselves, "I can do that," and we just want to take them back to that moment and live in the moment that you can do this. And you belong here. You belong here for a whole bunch of reasons, because you worked harder, you did all the prep, the product was good, and you belong here. And the other part of it is the biggest delta for them. And we consider this very much an academic exercise, but the biggest delta for them is nobody knows what they're capable of until they try something. And I used to say of them that they left the room 2 inches taller, but they are transformed by it.
Mm-hmm.
They get up, they do well, they get recognized. We'll $53,000 in scholarships this afternoon, and money's fungible, but to some of them it's really important. Some of them maybe less so, but it's
real.
It's real. This is their first time that they can compete using their skills and their education and their preparation for real stakes. That's a great learning experience. And the parents and the grandparents make it special. And then we, as part of it being an academic exercise from the beginning, when they have done, and we award and recognize, we ask to meet with them privately, each team privately, for 15 minutes. And we explain to them why they finished where they finished.
Mm-hmm.
Which completes the learning experience,
sure.
Right? Like the people in first, they're just happy,
right. Their ears are ringing.
Yeah.
Right.
The people in fifth, we're not going to tell them anything. They know, but if you're second, third, or fourth, you benefit from knowing what you could have done better, and that's part of it.
Well, and you three are veterans of doing pitches, and I'm guessing that not every single one of them was successful. And oftentimes you'll learn more from the ones that don't go well than from the ones that do go well. And what's the old saying? A failure is not a stop sign, it's a directional.
Yeah.
And so when you're talking to the kids who don't win or maybe had a tough time up there, what do you say to them about resiliency, about learning from failing and failing forward?
Well, some of the pre-talk, which will be going on in the next 30, 45 minutes,
Right.
we try to explain it. Well, at least I do. We talk to them individually. I talk to them about you're not being graded on your public speaking skills.
Right.
And it's okay to stumble, but take your time.
Right.
Be patient. You know your material.
Right.
We know you know your material. Just take your time and keep moving forward, because, like Don said, very few of these kids have ever done anything like this. But historically, they'll get through it pretty well.
Yes.
There's very few stumbles, but we tell them, be calm. You're prepared for this. You know your material. Relax. Enjoy it. You earned the right to enjoy this moment.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're enjoying it, it's noticeable. And people will see that.
Sure.
Because we know you know the material. And for the most part, the crowd knows they know the material as
Right.
well. So just relax and enjoy it. And you'll take away a lot from it going forward in your next ventures. The three of us, we've probably spoken in public hundreds and hundreds of times, so it just kind of comes naturally.
Sure.
Even if we don't know the material, we can make it seem, which actually happens a fair amount of times.
Well, the best way to improvise is to be well prepared.
But we just kind of, we know how to wing it.
Right.
We know if somebody wants us to talk for 3 minutes, we know how to talk for 3 minutes.
Right.
And we know we can just pick some out of the air. We can pick some high points that we know we should cover, how to thank people and stuff like that. These kids have no idea how to do that.
Right. Right.
But they still will put on a great performance today, and we're all very proud of them. And it's going to be a lot of fun for all of them.
Are they all seniors? What?
No, they take it in their junior year. So some might have taken it. So we're operating on a calendar year. So the plans we're seeing today were taken in the spring, summer, fall of 24. So they could be, second semester junior.
And one of the things that really put the JMU College of Business on the map when COB 300 was launched is that it's team taught, and the name is Functional Systems, COB 300, and it combines and integrates finance, management, marketing, and operations, and that was kind of groundbreaking when it came out in 03. And we got some recognition from U.S. News and World Report because of that functional integration in the classroom. Traditionally, these 4 different disciplines would be taught separately, and then it would be your job to figure out how to integrate them. How important do you think it is for their experience to see that, no, this isn't a bunch of parallel realities. They all need to intersect and blend if you're going to be successful?
I think, yes. I mean, one of the most important things in any business, the numbers matter, right? Acquiring customers matters, keeping things under control. So I think aside from the nature of the education is siloed, you take an accounting course, you take a management course. This is the first time they're experiencing the interplay of those things.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's quite good for them. And some of them, we recognize the teams. We also seek to recognize individual contributors. So we have a $1,500 scholarship for the MVPs.
Right.
Those MVPs may or may not have spoken. In other words, the group gets up, they don't all have to speak. But we ask to know who did the accounting work and whether they speak or not.
Sure.
And it's not unusual for somebody to be recognized in that way, an individual award, who didn't speak but did really good work.
Right. Which is great, because sometimes organizations overvalue extroverts. And being able to give somebody an award who's not necessarily out in front is a recognition of that fact. Well, one of the things that is completely different from when we 4 were in school in the early and mid 80s is that there weren't a lot of
Easy now.
With our trusty wooden computers.
Abacus.
Yeah, right. But the thing that was different back then is there wasn't a cadre of alumni who would do this kind of thing, who would come back and provide examples. Rusty.
Yeah, so I went to New York, and I graduated in 86, but I finally went to New York in 1988, and I was offered a job at Bear Stearns. And as far as I knew, I was the only graduate from JMU, in the state of New York, right. Much less on Wall Street.
Right.
I found out much later, just because the communication networks weren't so strong.
Right.
But I found out there were a couple other guys there at other firms, but I didn't realize that till about 15 years later.
Right.
But now, due to a lot of efforts from some of the people at the school, we have a pretty robust network of people in reasonably senior levels at just about every major firm in New York,
right.
whether it's private equity, whether it's hedge funds, whether it's a custody bank or an investment bank. So, we have a lot going for us, and some of us are trying to help make those networks more robust, create pipelines for kids into the system, and we're having a lot of success.
Yeah, not a lot of people realize just how integrated we are in those lofty areas. One of the things I think, though, that is really important is for the students to see you guys coming back, and to see not only that JMU turns out folks who can fly as high as you can go, but that you're coming back, and you're spending your time, you're spending your treasure, and you're spending your talent, and you're setting an example for them. How important do you think that is for them?
Well, there's one of the, it's very important, but one of the implied benefits for them is they get connected to their predecessors in the last 24 years.
Right.
And it's an imprimatur of having participated in that competition. There are a lot of people, both former competitors, judges, and others, who understand what a serious thing it is and what an accomplishment it is. And one of the unexpected, and is an implied benefit for them, is we have a big network of the alumni of this thing,
right?
All of whom, and we we're in touch with them across the year.
Sure.
And we help people find jobs. I mean, if you talk to 3 or 4 of the people that went through it in the last few years, they'd say the biggest surprise to me was how many career opportunities came out of this.
So I want to add in just off piste here a little bit before we run out of time. Don and I spoke yesterday to the Madison Investment Club, and we took for about an hour, question answers, great questions. Each time I come back to the school for this competition, I try to sit in on a couple of classes. Yesterday morning, I sat in on a Finance 371 class, and it's amazing the quality of the questions that are asked. But one of the things they all want to know is the day in the life of what you did. Give me the day in the life in 2 minutes. Your first year in a business, and then what did you do 25 years later when you're running a bank or division or whatever it may be? And one of the problems of basic education is kids really don't know what they're actually going to do. Like asking a kid that starts an accounting degree, what do you think is going to happen your first 6 months at work? They have no idea. So they really, I think it's really important, and more people are starting to come back to the school and regularly sit in on classes. And as an example, Dr. Carl Larson, I sit in on his class usually, and then Elias Saman, I sit in on his class. And
these are finance faculty.
Yeah, the faculty absolutely loves it. And I feel like, hey, aren't we wasting an hour of your life? And they're like, no. We wish more people would regularly come back and participate in this manner, so the kids can hear real life answers to exactly what you do in your specific field.
Yeah, and the real life training, like this is Shark Tank, right? Like, I wish I had this opportunity or be able to gain this experience
when I
was here. It just didn't exist. So getting these programs are just really important, for the school and for the students, and then hopefully they pass it along when they have the opportunity to do so.
Well, and you guys get a heck of a lot out of it too. Rick, you told me after that first time you came back, the line to come talk to you after you spoke on a panel was like 20 kids long, and that's what gave you the bug.
Yeah, that's what gave me the bug. Yeah, for sure. It's energizing, and I encourage more folks to do it. It was borderline life-changing for me.
Well, you guys are going to be headed over to the business plan competition here in a little bit. What are your hopes for the future of the business plan?
Well, we're right now, I think we're 600 or 700 students have gone through.
Yeah.
We've awarded $500,000 in scholarships so far.
And I don't think we talked about what's the endowment at this point right now?
1.25 million.
And you three are responsible for a lion's share of that.
Yes. Yeah. So the endowment means we can keep on keeping on.
Right.
We would expect parts of this to evolve, as it should. The class has evolved mightily in 25 years. If it evolves into something else, we'll be here to do that. And so I think it inevitably will morph a little bit, but we'll keep doing this. And part of in keeping doing this, the money will be there. We have, in the last 10 years, really begun to recruit former participants as judges. And so inevitably the whole panel will be people that participate. And they'll just keep it going when we no longer do.
Yeah, it won't be that long where we're just drooling applesauce and things like that. So somebody
on that note,
so somebody's going to have to get involved. But as far as the future of it, my personal view is that the next 5 years, university systems and structures are going to be dramatically different just because of AI and what majors kids choose to be involved with, because so many jobs, white collar jobs, are going to disappear. The robotics age of the 80s and 90s hurt blue collar jobs. AI is going to be destroying white collar jobs. So which direction kids choose to go for a major, I think business is still going to be alive. And I think things like pitching is still going to be alive, because you can argue that pitching is really more than just trying to pitch a deal. There's much more involved in what you actually learn by doing it regularly that will still be alive for centuries to come, I think. Whereas some of the rote functions in white collar jobs will definitely disappear because of AI.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, on behalf of the university, Don, Rusty, and Rick, we can't thank you enough for what you've done. And it's one thing to write a check, but to show up here and be here for the students is remarkably important. So on behalf of the university, we thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, listeners, if you got an idea for a future episode of Being the Change, you can reach us at beingthechange@jmu.edu. Until next time, go Dukes.
Thanks for listening. Subscribe to hear more stories about how members of the JMU community are being the change. Dive deeper and explore countless other stories at jmu.edu/Madison Magazine. Go Dukes!
The Being the Change podcast was conceived by Jim Heffernan, editor of Madison Magazine, and me, Andy Perrine, head of JMU Marketing. Thanks to Jenna Polk and her team at the Rose Library Studios, where the show is recorded by Cody Troyer, Steve Adderton, and Olive Santos, all of the crazy talented JMU photo video team, who then produced the final episodes at the Ice House in downtown Harrisonburg. Original music by 2019 alumnus Neil Perrine. You can find the Being the Change podcast on all the popular platforms where we hope you'll like, share, and subscribe.